everyone, it's Jeannie again, and I thought I would show you, I know in my last haul I showed you the scissors dies that I got, and I told you I was kind of playing around with I had bought this layered flower die, and I thought it was the one that people were using to make the Tim Holtz Grunge flowers, and it turns out that it was the 6-petal die instead of this one, which is just called flower layers, I guess. But anyway, I've been playing around with it today, and I thought I would show you the modifications that I made, that I came up with, and kind of how they turned out. This is my very first attempt at ever making anything like this, so they're not really all that perfect, but they're not terrible either, so it just takes a little bit more finagling. This first one I'm going to show you, the die comes, and I think I dropped a piece of it up here, but the die comes with these layers. And the original Tim Holtz flower, this is the medium-sized layer, the original Tim Holtz flower is made with all the same size flowers, just like removing petals. And you can see on this flower, the petals are not like uniform. There's bigger ones and little ones. So what I decided to do was, I thought for the first layer I would just take out one of the smaller petals, and then I would take out one of the wider petals to keep making the layers smaller, and that worked to a degree, but it sort of left some gaps, so I ended up having to actually incorporate the different sizes in to make the flower as full as I wanted to. So I'll show you this one first. I started with the medium-sized flower. I don't know if you can get a good look at that. It's a little bit lopsided. It's not quite as poofy as the Tim flowers are, but I think it will lay nice and flat on a page or a cover, which will actually be kind of nice. Anyway, I started with the medium, or the second to the largest size layer, and I did 2 of those, and then I went down to the next layer and did 2 of those, and I could not get since this was smaller, I could not get the little teeny tiny pieces just to look right, so I ended up just adding some pearls in the center of this one. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, and like I said, it's a little lopsided. It's not perfect, but I mean, I think on a tag or something it would be fine. I just used and these are just cardstock, they're not grunge paper. I used just kind of a medium weight pink cardstock, and then I glimmer misted it with vintage pink, and I used some worn lipstick just around the edges just to give it a little bit of dimension. Now the bigger size I think turned out a little bit, it looks a little bit more like the Tim Holtz Grunge Rose, although it's got a few more layers in it. What I ended up doing here is using 2 again of the largest layer, then the medium sized layer, and then I did use the very center is the little the petals that I cut out of the larger layers, but then it still looked like there was too big of a gap around them, so what I ended up doing is just cutting a couple of petals off of the medium-sized layer, and I can actually kind of show you with this one, is I just kind of went in and snipped out a couple of the layers, and I sort of flattened them, and then I just shaped them. I rolled them out like you would normally do on the flower, and then kind of flatten the edges, and then I just sort of tucked them in. I had a big puddle of glue in the middle, and I just sort of kind of tucked them in to fill in the gap between the center flower and the 3-petal flower that's in there, and I think it came out pretty good. I mean, it's pretty high. This is something you wouldn't want to close into a book, probably, maybe on a cover or on a tag or whatever, but it came out okay, I think. So anyway, so if you happen to have the 5-petal die and you want to try making Tim Holtz flowers, I would recommend, like I said, you can still do it. You just want to use, instead of using all the same size of the layers, you'll want to use a couple of different layers, and then just be prepared to kind of trim the petals down and sort of fill in the gaps. And like I said, the big one was much easier to work with. I think next time I might try doing Mod Podge on the paper, or even maybe dampening the paper, because I think it would be easier to work with than having it dry. And of course the big one, of course, was much easier to form, just because it, you know, it was just bigger. It was just easier to handle. So anyway, so that's kind of my take on the on a modified grunge flower using the 5-petal die. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Bye.